Good morning. It is very honored to be here. I want to thank you for inviting me, and especially Mr. Tomislav Donlik, Mr. Ivica Zelik, and Mr. Dragan, who were my colleagues in the last year as we built our cooperation in order to promote gifted education also in Croatia. I was very pleased to follow up the things that you are doing here, and especially the opening of the new Excellence Center for Gifted. And I hope our relationship will improve and get better for maximum products for both of us. I was asked to talk with you today about managing our system. I will try to give an overlook about the Israeli system for taking care of gifted and the outstanding students. Of course, I will bring some data from our system and the knowledge we know that we would like to share with you. So I choose to describe our system as a complex one. Not complex in the bad meaning of the word, but complex because it has a lot of ties in it, and it seems from the outside viewer as impossible to be managed. But I would like to explain how we can do it as a system. And the question I'm going to ask, how can we manage a complex system? Maybe we'll start of what is a complex system. First of all, Israel is a complex place. As you know, we have a multicultural society. We have many defense and safety problems, as you probably hear every time in the news. We have big transportation problems. We have educational challenges and very low natural resources. But we are also considered to be a very innovative society. We use creativity to solve many problems we have. And basically, we are called the startup nation because a lot of us are dealing with innovation and startups. It's a complex place, and let's see some of the definition for complex systems. One that I choose to bring to you was written in 1993 by researchers called Griffin, and I will read for you. We can imagine ourselves as leaders standing by the river, planning and controlling the boat's passage between the banks, or imagining ourselves on a boat, navigation between obstacles and streams, striving for fixed points on the banks. However, we can also imagine ourselves as a part of the flow, shaping together the stream of our experience as we try together to give meaning to the coming future. This is one special theory to describe a complex system. I want to suggest another theory, but first let me share with you a movie. It's a movie about a junction in Hanoi, Vietnam. Let's take 2 minutes to watch the traffic. That the traffic is not stopping at any time. So, what do you think? Challenging. But it's not a chaotic system. It works. The transportation is going on without any traffic lights or policemen or signs, and everyone knows the rules. So I'm going to try to give another explain to the complex system theory. Theory of complexity is a scientific approach that has developed over the last 2 decades to understand the behavior of complex and dynamic systems such as social and economic organization, information networks, evaluation of structure of living beings, brain structures, etc. And complex system is not necessary to be a chaotic one. Let's talk about the educational system in Israel. As you can see, like in the movie, we have a lot of diavers and data, and from the first look, it might be chaotic. We have 2.3 million students in Israel, age 3 to 18. We have about 3,500 schools. 76% of our students speak Hebrew. 24% speak Arabic. We have 5 different religions in Israel: Jews, Christian, Druze, Muslim, and Cherkessian. We are probably the biggest employee company in the market of Israel that hires 180,000 teachers. We divide the nation to 6 districts, and the ministry with the largest government budget. The last year it was even bigger than the defense budget. So it's a very big system. And our division is inside the system, and we are responsible for identification and nurturing the highest 20% of students in the country. It is also a very complex system. And this is what we actually do. We are doing the entire cognitive test system for over 120,000 students every year. We do it systematically, nationwide, with the 2 phases of identification process. We are doing a logistic array for parents' application. Every parent that think that maybe his child failed the test, he must take it again. He's a genius. We missed him. He's signing an application, and we have to have an array to deal with it. We are talking about thousands of applications every year. We have more than 50 special programs for gifted and outstanding students. I will present some of them in this lecture, and after me will come my colleague Iris, and she will deep in one of these special programs. We operate them in more than 1,300 schools with more than 4,000 teachers. And we have to deal with teacher professional development as a system. So these are the challenges. And this is a slide I also showed last year conference. We have 3 phases of population we are dealing with. In the top 20, there are the gifted, in which we are identify them from the cognitive test. And then we have the second level. We call them the outstanding in local phase. These are the 5% after the gifted. And the third level, and the big one, is the 20%. And there will be found the outstanding students inside school, in every school we are working with, according to achievers, behavior, motivation, and so on. These are the 7 targets and goals we have in our division. First of all, to lead the culture of excellence in schools. As I heard from other lectures yesterday evening, it is your goal as well, and we are very pleased to cooperate with you on this goal. We believe that every school that takes a special program for outstanding kids is promoting all school, not just these kids. We identify and provide cognitive, emotional, and social response to our students. We don't talk only about cognitive solutions. It's not enough for gifted kids. We must deal with emotional and social problems that they might have, and to mix it in our programs. We promote the gifted education and special needs issue inside the regular classroom. And this is something new for us. We are dealing it in about 2 to 3 years after we understand one very important teaching stuff. We promote research and evaluation studies in the area of education and gifted outstanding students. We must always depend and learn from the academy field, from research. This is a thing that go together with budget. I will talk in a few minutes about the budget thing, and we have to match between what we are doing on the field, the academic researches, and the budget. We have to ensure equal opportunities to reduce gaps in identification and programs participation. Because I said Israel as multicultural and has peripheral areas and people from different income level, we see that there are gaps in identification. In strong places, strong cities, students will be much more easier to be located as gifted, but in very low income society, it will be harder for us. And the 7th point is to create and promote international relationship like we are doing with you. It is very important to us. I think the number one challenge we are facing now is to get to the 20%, because now in Israel, my department, my division is dealing with 1,000 students in all schools and enrichment centers and so on. But actually, as we speak about 20%, we have to go up to 300,000, sorry. So it's a big challenge for us, and I will try to explain in our complex system how we are going to deal with it. How can we manage a very large system with many goals and variables? So the first thing we do is we are working according to this very simple model, I think. First of all, we must have a policy. We must know what we are going to do. We must analyze what is going in the field and create a clear policy for every school and every district. Then we must have a long-term planning, not just planning for next year. In a few minutes, I will show you our plans for the next 5 years. Then there's come the stage of the level of implementation, to give the budget, to give the teacher the things they need to the field, and to actually operate all the programs we need. And the very, very important step in this circle is the evaluation, because we have to check ourselves and our programs if the things we are doing are good. Is it really promote the gifted and outstanding students, or are we just wasting national money? And there are 3 arrows that go together with this model. The first of the arrow is data. We must rely on reliable and immediately data every day, every month. I have to know who are the students we identify, where they are they going to one of our programs, in which school we have the program, this one, or in which school there's still nothing going on. We have to rely on budget, okay? This is a big system, and we have to have money in order to implement all our programs. And the third error, and very important one, is we must have a professional development system and training supervision in order to get to any teacher and principal in the field. Budget. Okay, how much money do you think a division like that needs? Any suggestion? In euros? Someone? Excuse me? Infinity. Yes, that's. Can you work for us? Okay, so this was a big question. What about the money? And actually, we are operating under a budget of 20 million euros per year. Is this enough? Maybe it may seem like a very big budget. I don't know your budget, okay? But if you ask everyone in my ministry or in other division, do you have enough money? The answer will always be, no, we cannot work with 20 million. It's nothing, okay? This is the regular answer. So, is it enough? Never, but still we have to work with it and do the whole circle I described before, policy, plan, long-term planning, implementation, evaluation, teacher training, and so on. How is it in compared to other divisions in our ministry? Because, you know, I heard it yesterday and I was very pleased to hear it. If the children are children with special needs, and we have a division for special needs, but other special needs to children that have difficulties in study. So let's compare our budget division to the division next door to me in Jerusalem, which deals with the children with special needs. What do you think? Who has the greater budget? The next door. Yes. 10 times bigger. 10 times bigger in Israel. The budget goes to the one who has, to the department who deals with difficulties. It's okay. It's okay. We should take care of the children with difficulties in studies. But as a representative of the gifted and outstanding, I must say I need more money. What about increasing the budget? So this is one of my main, the main thing I'm doing during the every day I work. I'm trying to convince our ministry, our government, that we need to promote the gifted and outstanding students, and we need more budget. I cannot just come to say to my minister, give me more money, it's important. It's not enough. Even I have the spark in my eyes and the vision, it's not enough. I have to prove that what I'm doing with the programs really make a change, really make a benefit for the students. And it's very hard to prove it, because you need to see them outside after school, in the market, in the army, in the academic institution, to see that they become leaders, and to compare them to other kids that never been in a special program. If I'm successful in explaining that my programs are making any change because of the programs, this is one reason that someone will give me more money. Otherwise, it will not go. Let's talk about some of the programs we operate, just to tell you the numbers. So like the one that you opened not a very long time ago, the Excellence Program for Gifted, we have 58 enrichment centers like this. They called pull-out centers. It means that the kids that were identifying as gifted go out from the regular school for a day, every day, once a week, to the pull-out center, and they learn there in special methods and pedagogic systems. We have 36 schools that runs gifted classes all week. It's not just one day a week. It's special class, homogenic class inside regular school. We have an argument about should we have these schools in primary level, because we take very young kids in the in the grade of second grade or third grade or fourth grade and separate them to homogenic class, and we have an argument, is it good, is it okay for the social thing? We have some programs with the academic, that's rich research programs for gifted children in science and humanities. We promote research programs for gifted students in special skills area. It's a very small program in which we have only 15 students every year. We call them super or highly gifted or genius. We identify them from the gifted children and try to seek if they have one very, very unique giftedness. It can be in science or humanities or arts or every other subject. And in this program, we give each student a mentor from the academic, which follow him together for 2 years to do a research job together. We have more than 1,000 students that integrate academic studies during their high school. That means they don't learn mathematics in high school. For example, they learn mathematics in academic institution near school during high school. And when they finish high school, they have the diploma and also have few points of academic credit, and they can go on. Some of them even succeed to quarter of BA or something even more. We have a national stage for creativity in cinema, animation, and theater. These are 3 issues or subjects that when you hear it first, you say, why do gifted children have to deal with cinema and animation and theater? Well, actually, a lot of children are getting good skills from these programs because of social and emotional things we can do inside this program. It's not physics, it's not mathematics, but it's a very important issue to deal with. And not very long ago, we opened an adult gifted club in order to collaborate with gifted students that are now grown up and they want to give something in return to the society, to the youngers. So this is a new thing, a new club, and very important one. For the outstanding kids inside school, we have 54 after-school enrichment center. They do not leave the school once a week, but they come once a week after school to get lessons in a variety of subjects. We have more than 1,300 schools running program for outstanding students. My colleague Iris will talk after me about the biggest program we have. It's called Amirim. 770 schools in the program. I think many of you are teachers and principal will find it very interesting and ready to implement in your school. There is budget, but not so big, and it's a very, very good program we operate, and some others that are in this slide. And of course, the outstanding students can also integrate academic studies during the high school. It's possible, and we have a method and system that try to successfully collaborate with academics. In order to operate all these programs, as I mentioned before, we have 6 districts of education in Israel, and every district must operate a model that is described here. We have a district like county supervisor, and he has few of pedagogical instructions in the field of gifted and in the field of outstanding students, and they operate and they in charge of school pedagogical guides which go into the schools and guide the team. They collect the science team, sit with them, build a program with them, make a suggestion about what is good and what is wrong to do with the students, and so on. I think the main challenge of every district is to combine the district goals with the division goals. Most of the time they go together, but sometimes they must be matched together in a discussion, and each of the 6 districts we have in Israel operates like as I am showing you in this slide. Actually, we have 70 guides or 17 instructors that works inside all of Israel about our programs. One of the arrows we show before was the professional development, and I want to tell you what are we doing in this subject. It's very important that every teacher and every principal will be in some of the professional development system we offer. So the instructors, 70 I just mentioned before, have 60 hours every year of professional development. The principals of the enrichment centers must take every year 60 hours of professional development. The 36 gifted classroom coordinators must take every year 30 hours. They cannot say, I learned that before, nothing's new for me. There's always something new every year. And after a teacher or principal takes this hour, the division and the ministry, we note it, and after he collaborate or complete 180 hours, he gets a promotion in his degree as a teacher, and his salary is going on, so it is motivated to do the professional development as a yearly and going on training. And we have 1,000 coordinators of programs for outstanding students in school. They take every year 30 hours of development, professional development, and so on. We also look at the last line. We also operate learning conference for teacher and parents. Parents are very, very important. We meet them few times a year. We talked about the gifted issues, the asynchronic development of the kids, the needs at home, the needs inside school, and so on. So all in all, we operate 160 training courses every year in the budget of 4,000 euro per year. These are some of the topics we are dealing with in professional development for the teachers and principals: creativity, high-level thinking skills, pedagogy tailored for gifted and outstanding students, such as PBL, multidisciplinary teaching, and so on. I think you might heard these things before. There is something unique we do about tailored pedagogy, because we ask the teacher to think about what is best for gifted children. How is the best way to teach them inside school? And we test it like a laboratory. I can now remember two of very unique things that pedagogic methods that came out of our teachers. We didn't thought of them. One is, I would call it, let me fail you on all. Okay, the teacher come to the class first time and he say to the students, gifted ones, my dear students, I'm going to fail you all. You're going to fail in my course. This is the beginning. Now you have to do everything in your power, your curiosity, your motivation to not let me succeed in my opinion of failure to all of you. And one of the first mission or first project the teacher give the students is too high for his level. It's really going to fail. The student is really going to fail unless he's going to collaborate with his colleagues in school, unless he's going to ask the right questions, learn as a good students, and so on. Of course, no one is going to fail the students. It's just a method of creating motivation. The other example, also raised up from one of our teachers, is to work with students, with gifted students, in the opposite way. To tell the class at the first lesson, everyone has, I don't know your grade in Croatia. Do you give A or 100? What is the highest grade? 5. Everyone has 5, okay? Now you have to prove that the 5 still remains until the end of the semester. You have 5. I don't know you, but you have 5. Now you have to prove you have 5, okay? So it's also a basic to discussion and to let the students to be motivated. We talk about teaching disciplines for gifted children. We mean that knowing to teach science is not enough. When you go into gifted class, you must combine between your knowledge in gifted education and the subject matter you're going to teach, also in history and English or any other thing. We talked about psychopedagogic things like risk situation in gifted children, society, environment, self-evaluation, counseling for gifted children, and so on. I would like to share with you one of the things we are doing for several years, which is very helpful for us in order to promote this complex system, and this is the psychometric committee. We have a psychometric committee that goes along with the division work and deals with several very big challenges for us. First of them is the screening test. Someone has to control them to see if they are okay, to monitor them, to do the statistics, to see if there are questions that are not good inside the test. Questions that are by gender have to be removed. Maybe only boys get good answer about the questions, or girls, or peripheral areas that not succeed in the test. Someone have to do this work, and so they take the psychometric statistic from each year test, learn it, sit with the test in charges and tell them this question is not good, this one must be replaced. You have to upgrade the level of questions in each sector or so on. The second thing is the gender issues. In Israel for many years, about 10 years, boys get about 5 to 7% inside our programs more than girls in the Hebrew-speaking sector, and then in the Arabic sector, it's opposite. Girls are succeed more than the boys. So we ask ourselves, how can it happen? We believe that God divided our IQ equally between girls and boys. So we have to ask ourselves, why does boys get better grades than girls in cognitive test? So we check every questions and we see, is it a question that has some culture things that boys and girls do not answer the same thing? We check the application forms. We found last year, if my boy is going to the test and he didn't succeed, okay? As good parents in Israel, I will fill in application to the system and said, please test him again. I'm sure you missed him. He's excellent at school. The teacher says he's good. So we test, we see all the thousands of applications. About 80% is parents to boys and 20% is parents to girls. It's something we have to do with our society. Girls can be as good as boys. If you think they are good, let them take the test again. This is one of the things we found out in the psychometric committee. So gender really is a big challenge for us because we want to see 50% of each gender in our programs. Another thing is special population and peripheral area. As I mentioned before, we have some areas with a low income society and population that are not very strong in academic works or so on. And we see that their children are less seen in our programs. They do not have the success in the test, and we ask ourselves, how can we improve the test in order to see also population and students from peripheral areas. Another issue is the age of detection. If we ask, we now detect in Israel, we do the identification process in the Hebrew-speaking at 2nd grade and in the Arab-speaking sector in the 3rd grade. Because it has to do with the process the kids are writing and reading, okay? But if you ask parents what should be the age of detection, they will say kindergarten, maybe even earlier, during pregnancy test, I don't know, okay? But if you ask the psychological division in our ministry, they will say 2nd grade is too early. Emotionally, you have to take it to 4th grade, 5th grade. So it's always an argument, and the committee is dealing with data to ensure that the age of detection is still okay. One thing I want to tell you about age of detection, in 2nd grade, we see difference in the test grades in combined or according to the month you were born. If you were born in December or you were born in May, you will be about 5 points more in the test statistically, because it means you are much mature. In order of month, if you take the test 2 years later, these 5 points are going to 1 point. So there are arguments to here and to there. Other thing the committee is dealing with is tests under special condition. It means what are we going to do with kids with ADHD and all kind of reading and writing problems? How can they take the test equally? So we are trying to do the test in a quiet environment, only 5 kids inside the class when the test is taking place, all kind of solution like that. Research and evaluation, as I told you before, it's very important for me as a manager of the division. For my minister, when I want to ask for more budget, I have to be based on reliable research, evaluation, and data. So here are some of the examples we are doing right now. We are doing a research of ways of treating gifted in the regular classroom. As I mentioned before, we are trying to set up a tool of box for the regular teacher inside school in order to let him deal with maybe 1 or 2 gifted students inside his class. This is a research we are doing now. We are doing a big research on the integration of adult gift children in society. We are talking about grown-up who are now over 30 years old, but used to have been in our system before, and we want to see the academic achieve, what are they doing. We want to ask them if they think our programs were effective. We are doing evaluation study for every outstanding program we have. Every 5 to 6 years, we have a unit inside our ministry. Come to them, we give them money. Please check Amirim program. Is it effective? Are the teachers happy with the program? Are the students happy with the program? Give me a full report and I'll know, is it good? We'll upgrade it. If it's bad, maybe we would need to change it. And we are making a long period study of the effectiveness of academic programs for gifted and children in high school. This is a new research, just started now. It is going to take 10 years to check. Long-term research about gifted children that we send to academic programs, and we want to see if it's effective one. 5 years plan. As I told you before, we are not just looking for the next year. We have to look much more further. So the 5 years plan goal is to expand the division activity and capacity. Activity means more programs. Capacity means more students. Now, it's not enough to have a plan. You have to budget it. So the plan is approved by all the minister leaders and budget in most aspects. But we need to report every month the status and preparation for and performance of the plan. I have to go to my minister every month with some slides I will show you now and tell him, this is my plan, this is my progress, this is my problem. Okay? Let me show you. This is one of the slides. This is gifted students in Israel. See that we are counting them by each one of the students. My goal was to get to 16,000. I'm in 60,443. Okay? This is our progress in outstanding students in afternoon enrichment programs. and the goal for 5 years. Number of outstanding students in school and regional programs, 75,000. Expected growth of enrichment center for gifted children. Like the Center of Excellence who just opened, we have now 58, and we are going to we know in which cities or areas we are going to open new excellence, new enrichment centers in the 5 coming years, and we make all the preparation needs to do it. This is the schools that runs special classes for gifted children. We are now at 36. Next year, if you invite me once more to this conference, I will have to tell you we are at 39. And we are doing now the preparation for it to happen. Elementary school that runs program for outstanding students. Our goal was 820. We reach it, even pass it in 7 schools, and you can see our plan for the next coming years. This is in high school. And last thing is to tell you about new issues that the division is currently developing. So the last 2 years we are dealing with giftedness in narrow subject, not just regular cognitive G test, but narrow in the subject matters such as music and mathematics. We have just now finished a pilot for identifying gifted in music. We identify 50 students in Israel that are excellent in music, and we are going to give them special program to develop this special giftedness. We also do it in mathematics. It's still far from pilot, because in each of these issues I'm taking you back to the model. We have to have policy, we have to have long-term plan, budget, teacher training, evaluation, then we can go on to the field. I talked about the toolbox for teacher dealing with gifted kids in the regular classroom. It's a very big issue for us because there are many schools in Israel. Teachers see the gifted children, one children or 2 children in each class. If he doesn't know how to deal with them, they are in trouble, both sides, the teacher and the students. The students get bored very easily. He reads Harry Potter underneath his table, or he has discipline problems, motivation problems. We hear about mathematics class. That the gifted children does not need a lot of homework to do. They understand after 10 minutes. What are they going to do the entire work lesson? So we have to give the teacher a toolbox in order to deal with them. And another issue is circle of belongings and influence. This subject, we ask ourselves all the time, what do the children give back to the system, give back to society? Because I gave them, you saw, a lot of budget, good teacher, training, good programs. What are you giving back? In small circles, and then go on and enlarge them, because we want to see them as leaders and motivated influence, good influence on society. Here are some pictures from one of our belonging and influence conference. As you can see, Mr. Dragan and Mr. Tomislav and Mr. Live-stream last year in one of our conferences in Israel, they have been with us for a few days, and it was very important collaboration. I'm getting you back to the complex system as we started, and I want to say that for me as a manager of the division, I have to see the complexity as a board for creation, transformation and goals which create and drive the entire organization structure, not to see the chaotic thing about it, but to see the benefits of performance, interactions, variety, and of course the gifted and outstanding student. Thank you very much.